Hello, genealogists. It's Craig again with Just Genealogy. Today, I want to talk to you about building a core genealogical collection for the professional. Now, this is just going to create, in a few minutes, a roadmap for you as a professional genealogist to ensure that you have the books you need on hand, or at least know what books you should know about as you wander down your journey of being a professional genealogist. So the first thing that I would suggest you do is that you focus. You determine what your niche actually is. You can't be the generalist because there are a lot of generalists. What you want to do is to focus on something that makes you unique and why people will come to you before they'll go to anybody else. So if you do research in 100 counties and somebody else does research in 2 counties, and somebody's looking for somebody to do research in that county, not knowing either of you, they might go with that person that knows how to research in that 1 county rather than somebody that knows how to research in 100 counties. I'm just saying. So one of the important things you want to do, especially to conserve your book budget, far be it for a publisher like me to tell you to conserve your book budget, is to focus. When I started out in genealogy as a professional, my specialty was naval records. After a year, I had 1 client. So I knew that I had to change my focus, and that's how I became a military guy. After years and years and years of being a military guy, it wasn't that I was tired of the military. I became a one-trick pony, and you get to the point where you want to do something else. So I balanced it out by being a specialist in Quaker records. Nothing like the military and Quakers combined together. I have an ancestor who was both. And then I went on into problem solving as things got better. But I started out with a focus. And that's what's important that you do. So let's look at what that focus can look like. Now, my recommendation is that you take a piece of paper and you just draw 4 blocks on it. You're actually going to need 2 pieces of paper by the time it's all said and done. And in the upper block, you put the how-to. What how-to books do I have to have? What general reference pieces do I have to have? My suggestion is, and I'll talk about this in the future, is that you cannot be a genealogist unless you own a copy of Evidence or Evidence Explained. Unless you know how to do citation, it doesn't count, because if you don't publish it, it doesn't count either. That's not saying you're going to start publishing right away. But there are various books that will pertain to your niche. For example, Christine Rose's book on military bounty land is a book that contributes to my niche. So I definitely have that in my how-to reference. Now, this chart is set up for someone who is more county-oriented instead of topic-oriented. But you want to know how people came in to your county. You want to know how people left your county and where they went. And you want to know something about what local histories are available for your county and where they're located. And can you get them? Are they on Google Books because they're so old, or Haiti Trust, or archives.org? Or do you have to buy it from someplace like Heritage Books, or Higginson Books, or someplace like that? Or Genealogical Publishing Company, or Southern Historical Press, or one of the many genealogical publishing companies that as a professional genealogist, you will become very familiar with over time. Now, I suggest that you get a map that has your county in it. And my favorite county in the world probably is Loudoun County. That's where I moved after graduating from high school. That's where I lived when I spent most of my time in the evenings working in the National Archives. So Loudoun County. What I want to do is I want to look at the surrounding counties so that I have an idea about what touches my county and what books I may need in order to deal with those people who touch my county. For example, Loudoun grew out of Fairfax County. So anything prior to 1757, when Loudoun was formed, I'm going to have to be looking at Fairfax County books. So you want to know those pieces. I recommend that you go out to Family Search and you look at the county wiki. There is a wiki for Loudoun County, Virginia. In fact, there are multiple wikis for Loudoun County, Virginia. For example, there's one on church records. Now, I trust wikis just like I trust Wikipedia. I consider them to be an excellent finding aid. I consider them to be guidance. I don't consider them to be reality, nor do I consider them to be a complete look at anything, but it's a good beginning point. So you want to look at all the references that the wiki mentions and see whether you feel like they're necessary to your professional endeavor. I also recommend that you look at, on the wiki, the boundary changes. And here we see that the parent county was Fairfax. Of course, before Fairfax, it was Prince William. So you need to get all the pieces together. And there is an interactive map of Virginia County formation out there. There's also the Newberry Library's Virginia Historical Boundary Changes. There also is John Vogt's county formation map available from New Papyrus. Loudoun County is unique in that the county used to be larger than it actually is today. And at some point in the late 1700s, they gave part of the county, that laying east of Drainesville, back to Fairfax County because all those people were looking towards Fairfax County anyway. So it pays to know a little bit about the history of what's going on. I also recommend that you get a Burpee Seed catalog or download from burpee.com a copy of the Temperate Zone map. This will help you with your migration in and migration out because it will tell you where people went. For example, I have my Kingman family in Wisconsin follow these temperate zones perfectly. Walworth County is green. Geauga County, Ohio is nearly green. Tioga County, New York is green. And then Upper Connecticut is green. And that's the migration pattern from Litchfield, Connecticut, Tioga County, New York, Geauga County, Ohio, and then Walworth County, Wisconsin. And so you can deal with that. No farmer can farm more than two temperate zone away from what he knows. So get a copy of the Burpee Seed catalog and put the temperate zone finder near you. Once upon a time, this Kingman family that I have in Walworth County, I had joined HistGen, and I all of a sudden through research wiped out all my New England ancestry, but I joined HistGen, so I had to find some. So I used the Burpee Seed catalog to find my most northern ancestor that I knew anything about. Her name was Cornelia Kingman. She lived in Walworth County, Wisconsin. She was born in Geauga County, Ohio, and I tracked her back into upper houses of Middletown in Connecticut because of the Burpee Seed catalog and research, of course. So the other pieces that you want to know about, possibly the pre-settlers, you're usually going to find that information in county histories, just like you're going to find information on early settlers. If you live in a land grant state, you're going to want to know where the resources are to find those early patents, who those early patentees were. You're going to have the same thing to do in meets and bounds states. Also, if there were, in fact, tracts of land that were granted by the land office to a speculator or that kind of person. So you want to know who your early settlers are. So you want to know what land deed books, what probate records, those kind of things will identify those early on people. You want to know about waves into the county. And by that, I mean migrations in that come in groups. And you want to know those that leave in groups. You especially want to know those that come into the county in groups. For example, a church congregation that's resettling from a Quaker monthly meeting that's been split off. For example, coming from Loudoun County at either Goose Creek or Fairfax monthly meeting and ending up in Belmont County, Ohio, as a group of people. You want to be able to track them all the way back to where they came from. You also want to deal with all those people that are still there, left behind. Those people are probably very important to your research because they probably know a little bit about their families also. So that covers the high-level view of bringing your genealogy library in focus and determining what kinds of books you need at a minimum. And we'll start over time talking about each one of those squares and the kinds of books that I put on those squares for me, and maybe they may be very similar to the books that you'll want to put in your squares. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to Just Genealogy, where we're converting people doing genealogy into genealogists day by day. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.